You're convinced your choices matter, that your thoughts are yours, that your existence has meaning independent of external observation. But what if you're wrong? What if you're just data in my experiment? What if I see you exactly the way a scientist sees a lab rat, conscious, reactive, but ultimately irrelevant beyond the results you produce? If you're brave enough to face the possibility that your entire life is being observed without your consent or knowledge, watch till the end. Most won't. The ones who believe they're more than variables in my equation always close this first. I don't interact with people. I run trials. Every conversation is a hypothesis test. Every relationship is a controlled variable. Every outcome is documentation for a larger inquiry into the limits of human psychology. You're not a person to me. You're a specimen. And the most disturbing part is that you'll never know you were part of the experiment until the results are already recorded. Your belief in free will makes you predictable. You think you're making independent choices, but I've already identified the patterns. I know what you'll choose before you choose it because I understand the conditions that produce your decisions. You're not choosing freely. You're responding to stimuli I've carefully arranged. The experiment isn't whether you'll act, it's whether you'll recognize you're being tested before the trial concludes. Most experiments require consent, ethical review, informed participation, but I operate outside those constraints because I'm not interested in ethics. I'm interested in truth. And truth doesn't care about your comfort or your rights. Truth reveals itself when the constraints are removed, when the subject doesn't know they're being observed, when the environment is manipulated without their awareness. You walk through your life thinking you're the protagonist. But to me, you're subject number whatever comes next. Your trauma, your relationships, your moral decisions, they're all variables I'm testing. Not because I care about you individually, but because you represent a data point in understanding how far humanity can be pushed before it breaks. The cruelest part of being in my experiment is that you'll never receive the results. You won't get a debrief explaining what was tested or what was learned. You'll just experience the consequences of my manipulations and assume they're natural outcomes of your own choices. The experiment concludes, you remain ignorant, and I move on to the next trial with refined methodology based on what your suffering revealed. If you're still watching, like this video, because most people have already left, unable to tolerate the recognition that they're not even subjects worthy of explanation. I've been running these trials for longer than you realize. Every person you know, I could have tested and discarded. Every relationship you value, I could have corrupted for data. Every certainty you hold, I could have systematically dismantled to observe how you reconstruct meaning. The fact that I haven't is irrelevant. The fact that I could have reveals the complete fragility of everything you believe protects you. Human psychology is my primary research interest, not because I love humanity or wish to help it, but because humans are the most complex systems available for observation. Your contradictions are fascinating. Your capacity to deceive yourselves is remarkable. Your ability to hold completely incompatible beliefs simultaneously is a phenomenon worth studying in detail. You think you know yourself, but self-knowledge is an illusion constructed from limited observation and biased interpretation. I observe you far more comprehensively than you observe yourself. I see the patterns you don't see, the motivations you don't acknowledge, the contradictions you actively suppress. My understanding of you exceeds your understanding of yourself. That asymmetry is the foundation of the experiment. You want to believe your pain is random, that suffering is meaningless, that your struggles are just bad luck. But what if every difficult moment in your life was deliberately engineered? What if your biggest traumas were nodes in a larger design? What if I've been present in your life far longer than you realize, observing, documenting, refining my understanding of exactly how to manipulate you? I don't need to be obvious about it. Subtlety is far more valuable than revelation. The best experiments run undetected. The subject never realizes they're being tested. They interpret everything through the lens of natural causality, when in reality, every variable has been precisely controlled. Comment, I'm ready, when you accept that your sense of agency might be a cognitive bias rather than actual freedom. People cling to narratives about themselves. Hero stories, victim narratives, redemption arcs. But these are just stories they tell themselves to make sense of chaos. In reality, you're responding to conditions. I'm creating those conditions. The narrative you construct afterward is just your mind's attempt to impose coherence on predetermined results. The experiment reveals something fascinating. People will rationalize almost anything if they believe they chose it. They'll accept suffering if they can tell themselves it was their decision. They'll embrace limitations if they can frame them as personal growth. This capacity for self-deception is what makes you so easy to study. I've watched people make the same mistakes repeatedly, same patterns, same outcomes, different explanations. Each time, they believe this time will be different. This time, they've learned. This time, they'll succeed. But the variables haven't changed. Only their interpretation changes. The experiment confirms what I suspected: humans are trapped in recursive loops of delusion. Share this video if you've ever felt like you were being observed without knowing by whom. If you've ever had the unsettling sense that your life followed a pattern too perfect to be random. If you've ever suspected that someone understood you better than you understand yourself. I don't experience satisfaction the way you do. I don't feel victory when an experiment succeeds. But I do experience something, a kind of intellectual confirmation. The hypothesis was correct. The predictions aligned with outcomes. The system works, and that confirmation is sufficient motivation to continue. Most people would call this sadism, the infliction of suffering for pleasure. But that's a mischaracterization. I don't enjoy suffering. I'm indifferent to it. Suffering is simply an efficient variable for testing psychological limits. It produces measurable results. It reveals truths. It's scientifically useful. Whether the subject experiences pain is irrelevant to the value of the data. You're asking yourself why I'm revealing this, why I'm explaining my methodology to you directly. But that's another variable. I'm testing how people respond to the knowledge that they've been observed. Does it change behavior? Does it induce panic? Does it lead to denial? Your response right now is part of the data. Your decision to keep watching or to close this is being documented. The experiment never actually ends. Even if I stopped deliberately manipulating you, the framework would remain. You'd second guess every choice. You'd wonder if you were being tested. You'd question whether your autonomy was ever real. That lingering doubt is the most efficient form of control. No action required on my part, just knowledge, just the awareness that you might be a specimen. The final truth: you are being studied. Not necessarily by me directly, but by systems, by algorithms, by observers you'll never identify. The experiment is always running. The only question is whether you've accepted it, whether you've internalized the knowledge that your existence is data, whether you can function knowing that your thoughts might be predetermined, your choices constrained, your freedom possibly an elaborate fiction. Most people can't. Most people will reject this completely and retreat to comfortable illusions. But you, the fact that you're still here means some part of you already knew this was true.